Why do good people, the ones we trust, the ones who seem kind, end up taking a dark turn? It's a question that haunts us all at some point. You see it in friends, colleagues, maybe even in yourself. Those subtle shifts in behavior, the moral compromises made in silence. What makes these transformations so surprising is that they don't always start with a grand act of betrayal. Instead, they're triggered by small, everyday moments we barely notice. Yet underneath it all, human nature is far more complex than we care to admit. Is it the influence of those around us? A slow erosion of values? Or could it be that we all have the potential for both good and evil in this journey? We'll uncover how and why these changes happen. You'll learn about the subtle forces that twist our perception of right and wrong, the hidden psychology behind moral decline, and what makes good people turn bad. The truth may shock you, but it will also empower you. Because once you understand the surprising reasons for evil, you can guard yourself from the same path. Human nature has a peculiar flaw. While most people know right from wrong, they often stay silent in the face of injustice. Like Tolstoy once reflected, it's not the evil minority that we should fear, but the passivity of the masses. People see cruelty but are reluctant to act. Why? Fear, comfort, and the belief that someone else will step in. Passivity becomes a cloak that protects them from responsibility, but it's also the fuel that keeps injustice burning. This tendency can be seen in small, everyday moments, like witnessing workplace bullying or hearing about corruption and remaining quiet. The paradox is that while we all long for a better, more just world, it's our inaction that allows evil behavior to flourish. Deep down, everyone wonders, how far does our responsibility extend when we choose not to act? But if we let ourselves ignore these moments, are we not also guilty of contributing to the decline of morality? Screwtape's brilliance lies in how subtle he is. He doesn't need to scream evil into our faces. Instead, his philosophy is all about distraction. By making moral issues seem trivial or outdated, he nudges people toward moral decline without them even noticing. It's not that good people consciously decide to become bad. They just stop thinking about right and wrong altogether. In the midst of busyness, ethical concerns feel like a distant echo, easily ignored. One example of this manipulation is how modern society prioritizes personal convenience over collective responsibility. You see it in how people justify unethical actions, not because they've lost their sense of good, but because they've been taught to think of morality as someone else's business. Screwtape would be proud. He knows that when people stop caring about ethics, they're already halfway to corruption. Disconnection from morality doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow unraveling. People often retain the appearance of good values, but their actions drift further away from those principles. It's like they're living in two worlds, one where they still talk about right and wrong, and another where self-interest rules their decisions. This is where the true psychological transformation begins. Moral decline doesn't require a grand betrayal of values, just the gradual erosion of ethical concern. Take, for example, a person who cheats in small ways at work. At first it's minor, maybe just bending the rules a little. But over time, these small compromises snowball into a lifestyle where convenience and personal gain take precedence over integrity. They still see themselves as good, but the connection between their values and their behavior has been severed. The slide into evil behavior becomes less shocking, but more dangerous. Screwtape knew the power of humor. When people treat serious moral questions as a joke, it weakens their ability to take ethics seriously. Frivolity creates a shield where nothing is too important to merit deep reflection. This attitude isn't just lightheartedness, it's a tool of distraction. By teaching people to laugh off moral dilemmas, the road to corruption becomes far smoother. After all, if nothing is serious, then nothing is truly wrong. Think about how often difficult conversations are dismissed with irony. If someone raises a concern about justice or honesty, it's easy to brush it off with a joke. Over time, People begin to treat moral discussions as trivial, and it's in this atmosphere of frivolity that the seeds of evil behavior take root. When moral seriousness fades, people are more likely to follow the crowd than their conscience. The people we surround ourselves with can shape our values more than we realize. Social circles are powerful. They can either reinforce our moral compass or slowly pull us away from it when trying to impress friends or fit into a group. It's easy to compromise on what we know is right. It happens gradually, small actions justified in the name of belonging, until one day you wake up far from the person you intended to be. For instance, imagine a person who, to gain favor with certain friends, starts participating in gossip or unethical behavior at work. It might feel harmless at first, but soon they find themselves acting in ways they would have never considered on their own. The influence of those around us often makes the surprising reasons for evil clear. It's not that they wanted to be bad, but the pressure of fitting in led them down that path. Within each of us, there's a constant struggle between good and evil. This duality shapes our identity and actions. It's not about being purely one or the other, but about how we balance these forces in our daily lives. At times, people feel the pull of selflessness and kindness, while at other moments, selfishness or moral compromise takes over. This battle is what defines human nature, and it's ongoing, subtle, and often unpredictable. Consider the story of someone who spends their day helping others, but cheats a little on their taxes at night. They're not inherently evil, but this duality in their behavior reveals the complexity of human morality. The surprising reasons for evil often lie in this internal conflict, where good people make bad choices when the darker side of their nature takes over for a moment. It's this delicate balance that defines our path. Now that you understand the surprising forces that can turn good people evil, the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you allow the subtle pull of social influence, convenience, or moral disconnection to erode your values? Or will you take action to strengthen your inner resolve? Every day, we face small decisions that either reinforce our goodness or open the door to compromise. What choices will you make the next time you're tested? If you felt the struggle between good and evil within yourself, now is the time to act. Reflect on the influences in your life, evaluate the moral choices you make, and guard yourself from slipping down the path of moral decline. Do you think you're strong enough to resist the forces that try to pull you away from what's right? Share your thoughts in the comments. What steps will you take to stay on the path of goodness? And if you want to keep exploring the depths of human nature and learn more about the fine line between good and evil, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Together, we can dive deeper into understanding what really shapes human behavior.